came in late. Catch up. So, good morning, everyone. For those of you who are new, my name is Angie. I'm the founder of the Dominican Writers Association, and we've been hosting the writing salon since the pandemic on Zoom. Every Sunday, we usually have a different genre, a different facilitator, though I've been teaching the writing salon for the past few months. So today is week 4 of the short story writing series and we're going to discuss revision and beyond. Okay, so let me share the presentation. Please let me know that you're able to view it. Yes, no, maybe, can't see it. Okay, so today, we want you to know that revision is not just polishing, it's reimagining your story. It's about ensuring each scene, character, and dialogue serves the narrative's heart. So actually, we're not going to do this. I just want to explain to you all. So J.K. Rowling went through multiple rewrites of her first Harry Potter chapters, and Ernest Hemingway had 39 attempts at finishing A Farewell to Arms. 39, folks, 39. So if you're like on your 5th revision, please don't feel bad. I know some folks are continuously revising their work just so they can find a literary agent. And then once they find a literary agent, sometimes that literary agent makes them go through a few more rounds of revisions as well. That is normal, folks, because they're searching for the essence of your story and making sure that everything is cohesive, okay? So when it comes to J.K. Rowling's journey with Harry Potter, her initial manuscript of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone underwent numerous revisions. She meticulously reworked the first chapters multiple times to ensure the right tone and pace were set for the series. This relentless pursuit of perfection illustrates how revising isn't merely about correcting errors, but about refining the narrative until it resonates with its intended audience. Rowling's dedication to revision helped create a magical universe that captivates readers to this day. Rowling's process underscores the importance of patience and persistence in revision. Writers should see each draft as a step closer to unveiling the true essence of their story, even if it means revisiting the same chapters repeatedly. Okay, so for Ernest Hemingway, he's known for being concise and impactful, a style honed through rigorous revision. His work on Farewell to Arms is a prime example, with 39 drafts of the ending, each seeking the perfect resolution to his poignant tale. Okay, Hemingway's approach demonstrates how revision can be a deeply personal and painstaking endeavor. His quest for the ideal ending reflects a commitment to storytelling power and the emotional truth of the narrative. Hemingway's methodical revisions reveal that sometimes the essence of a story lies not just in its plot or characters, but in how it concludes. The ending of a story can alter its impact entirely, making revision critical to achieving the desired emotional effect. Any concerns, questions, comments about these two writers and their process? No? Okay. So both Rowling and Hemingway exemplify revisions as an essential creative act, a process of discovery where the true story is sculpted from the excess and its heart is revealed. Their experiences teach us that revision is integral. Far from being a final touch, revision is where story's depth, coherence, and emotional resonance are cultivated. Persistence pays off. The examples of Rowling and Hemingway encourage writers to persevere, reminding us that even the most celebrated authors face challenges in shaping their narratives. Ooh, look at this. Todo el mundo llega tarde hoy. Every draft is a lesson. Each revision is an opportunity to learn more about your story, your characters, and yourself as a writer. Okay? So, common revision challenges and strategies. Okay? Feeling resistant to change parts of your stories you're particularly fond of or attached to, even if they don't serve the overall narrative. Practice killing your darlings. Okay? Save the removed sections in a separate document so that they're not gone forever. This can make it easier to let go, knowing you can revisit them for future projects, or you can use them, recycle them for another story where they will be the right fit, right? So another challenge is overwhelming scope of revision. Feeling daunted by the amount of work required to revise a manuscript. The strategy you should use is break down the revision process into manageable tasks. Tackle the revision one chapter, scene, or even one page at a time. Create a checklist or schedule to make the process more structured and less intimidating. Number three, identifying weaknesses. Struggling to see where improvements are needed due to familiarity with the text. Strategy. Put the manuscript aside for a few weeks to gain distance and perspective. Upon return, weaknesses in the narrative or character development will be easier to spot. Alternately, reading the text aloud can help identify awkward phrasing and inconsistency. Number four, maintaining consistency. Keeping track of all the changes to ensure consistency in character details, plot points, and setting descriptions. The strategy, use a style guide or a story Bible where you note down all the crucial information about your characters, settings, and plot details. For example, there's that oh my God, what's the name? It's what's the story app? It was at the tip of my tongue. This very Scrivener, okay? Scrivener is a writing app. It's about $49 and it is an excellent writing app, also available on desktop, tailored to those who write in long form. And Scrivener allows you to break everything down by section. Okay, there's also another app called Plotter, Plottr, okay, which helps you with outline, um, organization, helps you visualize what your book should look like. Okay, you could always Google story writing apps, story writing resources, and you're going to get a list that you could um that you could review and see if it's a good fit for you, okay? Because not just because Scrivener works for someone doesn't mean it's going to work for you, okay? You get the free trial, try it out, and then yeah. So I believe Amina wrote it correctly, wrote Scrivener correctly. Okay, and I wrote in the chat what the other app was, which was Plotter. Okay, so you could use these, to note down crucial information, character settings, and plot details. Regularly update the document as you make changes to maintain consistency. Okay. Another challenge is dealing with feedback. Receiving conflicting or negative feedback can be disheartening and confusing. Strategy, remember that not all feedback will be useful or applicable. Consider the source and decide what aligns with your vision for the story. Look for common themes and feedback to identify areas for improvement. Again, folks, I mentioned it last week. Put that manuscript through AI and ask it what areas can you improve? Okay, help me improve this manuscript. All right. Um, Number six, challenge, perfectionism. Oh my God, so many of us, how many times I hear a writer say, it's not done yet, it's not done yet, and they refuse to just let go and finish. I've seen writers that have even published their book and go back to do a revision and republish it because they weren't happy with it. And it's just things that nobody else sees, but they see, and it's just crazy. Okay, I've seen it happen. All right. So striving for perfection can lead to endless revisions without ever feeling like you finish. Okay. Strategy. Set clear goals for your revision process and a deadline for when you consider your story done. Acknowledge that no work is ever perfect. And part of a writer's growth is learning when to let go and move on to the next project. I actually have a writer who's currently in the middle of a media tour, and she wants to stop the media tour because she wants to make a revision in the book and send it out to print again. It's crazy. Okay. Mind you, she sold tons of copies already. Okay. But she now found these little errors in her book that are just driving her insane. She can't let them go. And she wants to stop the process in the middle and start all over again. Y that me, I get it, but you're in the middle of a media tour. Me, for example, I had to change when I self-published my book. I got a cease and desist for the title of my book because the title of my book apparently was trademark and I didn't know. Okay. So I had to stop the printing, choose another title, and reprint it with another title. Okay. That is makes sense, right? But for you to stop an entire, yes, it was very stressful. I was so tight because I was so in love with the first title of my book. And I had such a difficult time finding a new title. It's okay. It just means that, do your research. Make sure that your title isn't trademark. Okay. Um, so yeah, there's just certain times that yes, revise. But not when you're going to print and you're in the middle of a tour and like, come on. If your book is selling, that means nobody else is noticing the errors that you're, focused on. All right. Common revision challenges, also addressing your challenges. So asking you all, what are your biggest hurdles when it comes to revising? Um, Amina, maybe you could share what your challenges currently are now that you're in the revision process of your story. I want you all to think about this, list them, and let's discuss the strategies to overcome each. So, can you identify, can you see yourself in any of the challenges that I listed? Right? Like, which ones are you struggling with? Which ones do you need to find your way through? Is it over attachment? Is it overwhelming scope of revision? Is it identifying the weakness? Is it maintaining consistency, dealing with feedback, or your perfectionism? What are your challenges? Write them down, list them, let me know. Let me know what it is. Let's share them because I'm pretty sure that you are not the only person um experiencing these challenges. Okay. Welcome to all our latecomers. I will share the video later so that you could catch up to the first few parts of the presentation.
I can share something real quick, Angie.
Go ahead.
So the story that you published in this book that we're talking about earlier, it's an example of a revision for me. The essay that I wrote, part of it is a story that I wrote about 15 years ago. Um, but to stay within the parameters of the ask of the piece, I had to revise a lot of the details, and that was very strange to do in order to stay within, what you guys were asking for in terms of this. So it was a challenge for me to sort of marry what I originally wrote so long ago as an experience that was deeply personal, and then trying to marry it to meet criteria. Um, so that was it, but I feel like I grew from that, because it's a lesson in learning how to let go of, you get so tied into something that's so personal to you. And um but yeah, a lot of this other stuff, especially perfectionism, because I've been actually watching a lot of videos about just like writing, and the perfecting it comes in the editing and revision process. Not, you don't have to write it all correctly on your first draft. That's when you get tied and you don't put anything down, because it's not going to come out perfect. So yeah.
Nice. So Yahaira was recently published in Una Visa por tus Sueños, our most recent anthology. Um, don't go to my website to order because we ran out, but it's on Amazon. Um, and she was speaking about her revision process when it came to write that essay and meet the call for submission criteria that we were asking writers to send to us. Thank you for sharing, Yahaira. Um, Jen expressed that she's in the middle of writing her first book and she cannot do it without therapy. She sees herself in all the challenges, but she found the power of adding date to write in her calendar. That should have been one of the challenges listed here. I totally get that. Writing something that is emotionally charged, and for which you may need support, you know, mental health support. Idanmi is struggling with consistency and she's worried about feedback. Why are you worried about worried? Is that word is the one that it stands out to me. Why are you particularly worried about feedback, Idanmi?
I just think your writing can be personal at times, and I think that you have to have a tough skin, you know. And so like developing that tough skin to not take it personal, but to see it as like an opportunity to grow. It's something that I've always like feel nervous about it. Like, am I gonna be tough enough? You know, even though I in my regular life outside of writing, I love feedback. I'm always like, yes, give me feedback. I want to grow. I want to learn. I ask a lot of questions.
But
But
not
if
with your baby, not with writing.
yeah, because I feel so personal.
I get it. But I'm like, who do you think is gonna be giving you feedback about your writing? Are these monsters? Because if you're giving your writing to editors and other writers that you trust, they're not going to treat you like that. They're going to give you constructive criticism, and that's not anything for you to be worried about. Also, you don't need to accept all the feedback, right? I remember when I wrote my book, I sent my book out to like five editors, and they all had different opinions. I chose the ones that I thought I was gonna be okay with. I mean, my book was poetry, so it wasn't anything out of this world. But I took from everyone, but not all of it. Um, Leslie says it makes sense to worry about feedback. I have taken classes for writing, and there are certain rules like adding dialogue or being compelling. It's hard sometimes to write when you know the rules, or some of the rules that might be barriers. It might also be lack of confidence. But folks, I wouldn't use the word worry, but okay, I get it. I get what you're both sharing. This is why it's important for folks to work on their craft, right? Because tons of people just throw themselves into the sport of writing with no experience whatsoever. They've never submitted any work. They've never spoken to other writers. They've never been part of a writing community. They never done anything. They just woke up one day, said, I wrote this story, it's getting published. And they self-publish it. And then the story has a bunch of holes, is missing because they didn't get feedback, right? The same happens with a lot of writers who feel that they don't need an editor. And I say, if your favorite author who is published needs an editor, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? So, you know, again, we have this saying in Spanish that says, ¿cómo dice? What? Damn, now I forgot. It's something like paño tibio, like that we're not gonna be, don't expect us to be, to coddle you. Do expect us to be honest with you because that's what you're seeking from feedback. But at the same time, trust that the person you are seeking feedback from is not going to do you wrong. They're not going to trash your stuff. Don't ask me for feedback though. Susana, you would have shared something.
Yeah, I'm just, well, my big problem is perfectionism. And I'm gonna confess, when my first book came out and I read it and I saw the errors, I was like, oh no. And when we did the reprint, I fixed some of them. So I'm in
Okay,
that,
yeah,
but I just said, just sit with it. Now I'm doing the revisions on the layout of my second book, and there's stuff that are like could be more perfect, and I'm just like pulling myself back. It like just saying, don't worry about every single comma and every single quotation mark and this and that. And just look at, so what I'm doing is I'm marking what's essential changes that are like true errors, and what's like my little nitpicky kind of thing. And then like trying to let the nitpicky things go because they're
yeah,
not important, like you said, but it took me a long, long time. The other thing I was going to say about feedback is like, I think you're right. Like if you choose the right people to do the feedback, and be careful not to take people who are not the right people. It really helps. Like this story that I was working on from this workshop, I sent it to my dad to review, and I had talked about I had made up these this image of these hairpin turns in Texas, and my dad said to me, "Find me a mountain in Texas that you're gonna have hairpin turns." And I'm like, "You're right." So sometimes things that you can't see, other people see, or like in one scene, I had gone like 75 miles, and then suddenly I was back where I was, and that wasn't consistent, and you can't see it. I couldn't see it. So
right,
to me, like I like to have the idea of other people just making sure that like I haven't left out some important link
right,
that I can't see because I'm too close to the story.
right. I agree, yes. So Amina shared that you have to take some people's critiques with a grain of salt. Everyone does not like everything, and that is okay. Para los gustos se hicieron los colores. How do you translate that to English?
Like it's almost like when they say beauty is in the eye of the
There
beholder.
you go. Exactly. Jahaira says that she actually relies on feedback. She wants people to connect with her writing. So I like to know which ways I can do that without changing the core of my story. But I also trust my gut. So if the feedback is not actually constructive and it's just tired diatribe, I toss it. It takes time to develop detachment once you let someone else read your work and you ask for. Yeah. The more you do it, the more practice you put into it, the easier it gets. So you got to build that confidence, right? And how do you build that confidence? By submitting your work, by sharing your work, by allowing folks to give you feedback. And then it's the pain is going to be less and the worry is going to go away. Okay? It won't be such a huge concern the more you do it. But you got to put yourself out there, because otherwise, you're always going to feel like an imposter. Jahaira says being vulnerable in front of people can be nerve-wracking. That is correct. Jen says building her confidence while being brave part-time. Leslie says she needs to do the same and build her confidence. Yes, so many of you have so many things in common, huh? Okay, so techniques for effective revision. Reading your story aloud can reveal awkward phrasing, inconsistencies, and area where the pacing is off. Share your work with trusted peers or mentors. Fresh eyes can catch things you've missed and provide valuable perspective. Susana shared it with her daddy. Her daddy was like, something's missing, right? So cut and condense. Be ruthless in removing anything that doesn't serve your story, no matter how much you love a particular sentence or scene. Focus on characters and dialogue. Ensure your characters are consistent and their dialogue sound natural and true to their personalities. Okay, so we're gonna take a 15-minute writing exercise right now. And I want you all to choose a scene from your story that you feel could be improved and apply the techniques that we've discussed to revise this scene. Focus on one aspect at a time. Start with the overall structure, then look at a character development, and finally scrutinize the dialogue and description. Are you all good with this? Because all these 4 weeks, you should have all been working on a short story. Susana, you said something? Oh, what?
Oh, no, I was just trying to do thumbs up. Yes, good with it.
Are you all good with this exercise? We're doing it 15 minutes. Where's my timer? Timer. Okay. Okay. Who's ready to share? Let me stop this timer. Y'all hear me?
Yes.
Or everyone is just not trying to
All right, goodbye.
share anything. Everyone feels vulnerable now and worried about feedback. Come on, you're among friends, you're among family. Did
You
you
want to,
apply any of the techniques that we discussed? Did you revise anything? You didn't need to take on the entire manuscript, but did you find anything that you could improve?
did you
Work
want us to share the actual writing or the process?
You could share the process for now, Susana.
Mhm. Or the writing as well, or just
Yeah, share the
either one?
process first and then the writing.
Well, I guess, yeah, for me, my big concern is if the end is strong enough, and I was stuck on one word. And I just changed a few, like there was a word that just had the wrong tone, and I spent time looking for a change in it. And then a few other things like that where there was inconsistency of language. Um, and I don't know how much a chunk you want us to read, or
You could do, let's do 2 minutes.
okay. I think this is within 2 minutes. If not, stop me. So this is sort of the closing scene, and this is the one I'm most concerned about if it's satisfying enough. And just before this, the narrator is in a restaurant on a road trip. So let me just see where this. Okay. Let me just find. Okay, here. I check the map as the waiter brings the check and the cafecito for the road. Key West is the closest I can get without a passport to true tropics by land. But those marshes and mangroves are more than 20 hours of driving away. Midway, New Orleans glistens, nearly mythic, nestled between a pair of lakes in the mouth of the Mississippi, meeting the Gulf of Mexico. Katrina's slash is slowly healing, a keloid on a greening terrain. Jazz and jambalaya, baranda-like parades of spirit and song, and knowing Suni lives nearby, the fragments all fall into place. Suni is not an angel, but she shares her vision. She shares their vision. Her eyes dance like a jetée of the ballerina she once was as she opens her door, finds me there unannounced. She sings my name, and even the scar on her voice, left by a stroke many years before, cannot stifle joy. Today is Suni's birthday. Today she turns 91. I wear my story on my bare face and in the folds of a color-splashed scarf. Suni's update unfolds in the bend of her arthritic fingers, still grasping a soft lead pencil and the padded grip of a trowel. We'd last seen each other in Puerto Rico, our cheeks toasted brown, life seeming as simple as the rhythm of tides and the calm surface of Laguna San Jose. We talk about loss and gouges in the sand that with time refill on rising water. I tell her about the love affair that ensued when she gifted me a half-full bottle of Vente Conmigo, its label peeling from decades of use. Love is constant, though its vehicle is not. Despite the love potion, I am driving sola, I explain. Nena, you are never alone, she reminds me. Suni takes me to the waterfront. We walk along the basket-weave bricks of the promenade, listen to musicians play a fiddle and a sax, watch horse-drawn carriages trot by. We buy rutabaga fries, share them with seagulls circling overhead. Sitting together on a wooden bench, we look beyond the river, perk our senses like bulldogs or bats, turn to each other, smile as the sound of plena float across hundreds of miles of waves, sound healing, the healing sounds of comparsas, of bomba. She points towards a point on the ocean just beyond the Tropic of Cancer. I tell her how much I need to touch those healing waters. You will, querida. You will, mi corazón. She can't tell me when, but she knows it in her bones. Should I keep going with it, or is that time?
Good. Thank you for
Going?
sharing that. Wow, your voice is so, but
There's a
the
Okay.
story itself, right? But we can't tell what you revised.
yeah,
We
there's
can't.
yeah, I can tell. Oh, I have
Uh,
maybe there's maybe like a half-minute left of it. Should I
Go
go?
on.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
finish.
Um, I think of Boricuas I met in the Miami airport while waiting for a connection, hopscotching my way to Luis Munoz Marin International. Sprawled across black plastic chairs, playing dominoes, they'd been waiting for days for a standby seat to San Juan. Stuck in limbo, they still celebrated the moment, a melange of glee and pasteles plucked from backpacks, filled with faith they'd arrive. Somehow, sin duda, without doubt. Suni takes a shard of poetry from her pocket, slips it into my palm, clay once shaped by Taino hands. She tasks me to return it to Utuado. I hug Suni, the familiar scent of her agua de Florida soothing. Back in the driver's seat, I buckle up, rev the engine, hum a new mantra. I have to cross the Tropic of Cancer. Somehow, sin duda, without doubt.
Lovely. I love it.
Mm,
Thank you, Susanna.
thank you for
What do you
listening.
all think? Well, it's in the chat. Susanna, I love your voice. That was Lillian. Jen says, so lovely. Amina, listening to your voice is so poetic and soothing. Jahaira, this is so soothingly powerful. Leela says she's MIA, stuck in limbo. Very strong voice.
My is Miami International Airport.
Okay.
But I love that reference to the airport and that idea of being stuck in limbo in Miami. As someone who grew up in Miami, I feel that.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you, Susanna. Um, see, you see the feedback that you gave Susanna? See, everything was so nice. Okay, not everyone's feedback is
yeah.
going to be the same, but you know,
I think it's really like your description of the time and the place, especially as we've been talking about setting and pacing, for and then you're including elderly, and elderly women. It fits beautifully, the pace and the place and and the cadence. It's beautifully done.
Susan, I'm also really excited about this, like at least what I know a little bit about what you've shared about this Capricorn energy, which to me is like the step-by-step process of life, that mountain goat energy, like at traveling through, going from like just like the places that you're tying in from like the Antilles, Puerto Rico to Miami to New Orleans. There's something really powerful there about a symmetry of like a goat making its way through the Antilles, through the tropics. Yeah, that I want to uplift. Really beautiful.
thank you, Jahaira. Capricorn energy. Who else wants to share? Rosendo's kind of quiet today. ¿Qué pasó? Rosendo, you there?
Fue,
You
fue el
good?
bote
You
de la
okay?
semana pasada.
No,
Hello, hello.
we embraced him.
No, no, yeah, no, I just woke up from the dream of Susanna's voice narrating my thoughts. But I guess if I ever write something in audiobook, Susanna, I would hire you to read that, out loud. I think, Susanna, I mean, I don't know, like I guess I'm biased because I'm a fan, so everything I'm gonna say is gonna be good. But no, it's the pace though, like her pacing is. I don't know. It's just the tone in her voice, how settled, how soothing and therapeutic it is. But the pacing, is great. And if I guess you're reading to grammar and quotations and all that, I think you're everything's perfect about that. But me like you, me perfectionism is the big thing. I get like Angie said, somebody like revising in the middle of a song. I see myself doing that like But no, it was great pacing. I like the pacing, like Jay said, the pacing was beautiful.
Thank you, Rosendo. Anyone else wants to share? Did you all revise something? Take something out? Idami, I think you also share that you did something with your poem.
Yes, I did, but I don't want to share it.
Okay. It's okay. Okay, could you share what you did, what revision process you used, what you were struggling with, and
Yes. So with the book that I like have been writing on a novel. Originally, it kind of felt like a memoir about some of my life experiences. And at the beginning, it was kind of focused about kind of like my relationship with my father and how that shaped my life. But I've now decided to, like, instead of it being about that, to be more like about myself and the challenges I faced and how I've overcome them. But I wanted to be more focused now on mm, um like the women in my life. And kind of I wanted to be more like women centered and you know, kind of like women empowerment more,
okay.
feminists. So I think that that's the change that I made. So then when I was thinking about it, I'm thinking now about doing more like a interconnected, but like almost like short stories
Okay.
about different women. So that like I will still be a like there will be a character who's recurring throughout these stories. But like I want, I think it's gonna be something like that. Because I really like short stories and I feel like I don't know. I just feel like it would be better somehow that way.
Okay, so those are major revisions. You went from talking about your father to then just you, and now you're focusing on the women in your family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I suspect there might be some more revisions.
Yes, but I'm excited with this change.
Okay, good. You're accepting this change as this is what it's got to be, and you're flowing with that one.
Yeah. I mean, yes, yes.
Be
I mean,
confident now. Come on.
I am because like it's how I want to do it right now. You know what I
Okay,
mean? Like I don't feel any pressure right now other than like I'm just gonna create what I want to create and then we can talk about whatever else later. You know what I mean? So
got it. Okay,
Save everything, because you don't know, you might want to borrow stuff or, or branch off and write something else. So, but whatever the fire is right now, feed that.
okay.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. Who else wants to, Amina, you want to share?
Um, I well, I have a printed manuscript and I did the changes in writing, so it's a little disorganized. But I'm doing a scene about a girl, Angel, in her room, and Angel is going to Catholic school, and both her parents work long hours, and she's lonely and misdirected, and she's falling in with the bad crowd. That's like the background. So I tried to make the scene more interior, like her thoughts more, because it was lacking that. So I'll just read like a little paragraph. Okay. Angel was in her room. It was late. The room was dark. Even though her mother decorated it with a pink bedspread and pink curtains, she always kept the lights low. Um, she was looking through her list of homework assignments. She could hear her parents' voices coming from the living room. They were talking about how tired they were. She wondered how they even got together and why is it they stayed together. She felt the coldness between them and hoped she never had to and be married, live with and be married to someone who made it look like marriage was a job. She looked at her homework assignments for the next day, a sample trig quiz, a pretest for English, some 20 pages reading of Chaucer. Early the next morning, both her parents would be gone as usual. The house was always empty. Sometimes her mother would bring home fish or lobster from her restaurant. Her father was always working. She wondered if that was really true. They said they did it all for her, but she didn't want it. She wanted a home, a family, not something in the future. I'll stop there.
Thank you. Yeah, I have to call Rosita to see what's going on with her. Hopefully she's okay. Last time she missed, I think that's when she injured her ankle and she was home for a while. No, she was in the hospital, if I remember correctly. For those asking in the chat. Um, but Amina, thank you so much for sharing. So how do you feel about your revision process?
Um, if I take the time, well, the thing with me is the discipline. You
Okay.
know, um, making writing time and sticking to it because it's so easy to get distracted and make excuses. Like if I put in the time, it happens, you know? So, um, yeah, it's the distractions that come up. And so I've been going through, okay, so let me tell you what happened. This year I took we're only, this is what month? February? In January, I think I took 3 workshops back to back because I was really trying to produce, some new material. And then I hit a wall. Like I think your brain sometimes just hits a wall, and I couldn't even focus on reading a book. So I said, you need to take a mental break. So then I was like watching Lifetime movies or whatever, because I just couldn't focus on writing. And I think it's okay to forgive yourself because sometimes I know when I'm pushing myself too hard and I got to take a break. But now I'm back to like trying to do more work. So,
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. Who's next?
I have I'm working on a story. It could potentially be a novel at some point, but for right now, it's going to be a short, and I'm going to be changing the perspective. The short is going to be the story is my perspective. When I was growing up in DR, there were this family that moved up the hill from us that and they had 4 kids, and I grew up in a very small, sort of in between, not necessarily campo, but not a city either, un pueblo, right? And it was a big event for someone from the States to move over and be there for a while, and how I wanted to be viewed by them and how I viewed them instead, and not having I grew up with my grandparents and extended family, so I wrote an outline for one particular event that happened involving that family and me and that whole worldview. I wrote an outline out. As I'm writing, I'm trying to put it down. I'm seeing, and especially after this came up in your slides, the the way that I am trying to write it perfectly.
Mm.
And so I haven't gotten very far with it, but it's here. I have it. I have the story. The story is already there. I just have to write it. But I'm already like worried about how I want the pace to be. Like I'm worried about the technical stuff as I'm writing the content of the story. So this was a good sort of reminder to sort of ground myself, write a story, right? And try to to get it. I mean, what I have so far I think is decent, right? But it's nowhere near where I should be with it, especially like, the story the idea for the novel came about that maybe I want to assign or write things from their perspective and talk about like each sister and how they are, and then make myself and my family sort of a marginal character in a novel form. But for this particular thing, it's just been a little frustrating, and then I stopped writing. I have like 3 paragraphs and they're all like introducing this family, and it's just like paced perfectly, and like no grammatical errors, like just it's just
Just put it all on
it's
paper
tough. Yeah,
and then
it's a bad habit. It's a bad habit.
put it all on paper and then tackle the
Yeah.
rest, one
Yeah.
step at a time, okay?
Yep.
Thank you, Jahaira. Who else wants to share? Leslie, you got nothing today?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure stuff out. I have like a couple of things happening. I'm writing the short story, but I also have like this idea of writing like lessons learned, and I have like 30, I don't know if you could see it, but let me see if I could blur.
Okay, no.
I have like 30 of these books that I've written in,
Whoa.
and I wanted to sort of maybe take some things out of it and just put it together and compile it and see what I have. And I have a whole bunch of them that I've written since December 2016. And they're my journals, but there's stories in them too. So I just have to figure it out.
Girl, that's a task, but
Yeah,
baby steps,
it's baby steps. Yeah, it's baby steps. See, I have like a whole bunch.
baby steps.
Yeah.
I wish there were like some way for you to scan them with your phone, maybe, and digitize them, and then
No,
then you
sir.
might be able to get them organized in the way that you want.
Well, I'll figure it out. Is that a little dog?
Yes, this is my Chihuahua, my pain in the butt Chihuahua.
Oh,
Over here about to start boxing with my Shih Tzu, who's like 5 times her size, but she doesn't care.
wow. Well,
Um,
thank you.
thank you for sharing. Who else wants to share? Yeah, she's a boxer. I tell her no boxing today. Leave her alone.
I'm surprised my dog is quiet today because I'm like, I can't do this every Sunday with you, Penny. But she's chilling.
Alex, you have anything to share? Jen, Leela, Anastasia. No, we good? What did I have here in my almost done with this workshop? I think we only have like okay, so do you all have a plan for these short stories that you're writing? What's the plan?
I want to compile mine and publish.
Publish traditionally, self-publish?
I haven't gotten that far yet, but whichever, whatever makes sense. I think, I think at some point I have to kind of just traditionally publish it and see what happens.
So you ready to take on
Yeah.
traditional
I mean, I
publishing?
think, well, you
Get a
know what?
literary
It's just like
agent?
I have, I have a very stressful career outside of writing. So
Okay.
to publish traditionally, or I mean, to publish at all, it's a big commitment, and with time and doing all the work. So I would just have to find the balance, but that's my goal.
Right.
That's
I
I
highly
definitely
recommend
want
for
to.
those of you who are Latinos to apply to the Latinx and Publishing Mentoring Program. I keep mentioning these resources to you all, and I hope you're taking advantage of them. But Latinx and Publishing has a mentoring program where they partner you with a published author, and they walk you through the process of polishing your work and eventually actually publishing it. They pair you with someone, okay? And for those of you writing middle grade and YA, of course, I always mention Las Musas mentoring program. They just closed their mentoring program, and I think the next round is in September. Okay. So Jahaira is the only one who got planned, and Susana, who's already published, or you all are writing for just the sake of writing?
I'm sorry, Angie, what was the question?
What are your
was-
plans for your writing?
Well, my plan is to publish.
Okay.
Just keep writing. Yeah.
Okay. Amina says she's writing a book and she's planning to publish it. Okay. All right. You all got big dreams. Totally doable. Okay. Rosendo is writing for the sake of writing. Got it. Okay, guys. No, that's fine. Do any of you have any takeaway from your revision process?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to not be afraid of change, because anything can be undone. So, like, um go out on a limb, what the hell, and see what happens. And the other thing is the time challenge, like focusing and taking the time.
I'm sorry. Go on, Amina.
No, I just said, the time challenge is a big deal, for me.
Finding
Uh,
time, yeah, in a busy
yeah,
schedule.
always giving other things priority. And I think as women, we are conditioned. I don't mean to diss any of the guys out there, because maybe you were raised to feel more responsible for others than yourself, too. But I think with women, a large part of our conditioning is to, put ourselves last and be over responsible for so many things that keep a home running, keep a household running, keep a family running. And we don't think about, our own dreams or our own self care. So, yeah, having a balanced life is important.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Yeah, Leila said that believe that publishing my writing merits my time and discipline. Yes. All good. No one else has anything else to share?
I have a question.
Yeah, Susanna wanted to say
Oh,
something.
yeah, I have a question. When it comes to like beta readers, like we were talking about last session, do you feel like it's helpful to make a list of questions that we particularly want to know, or like is it better just like leave it blank slate and people say what they want, or should we
If you
create?
don't have any questions, you just ask them to read and tell you what you think. But most of the time, we have very specific questions we want to answer. You want to know if people are connecting with the story. You want to know if very specific things make sense, if there's consistencies, if there's cohesiveness. Like there's tons of things that you could be asking your beta readers. Google beta questions for writers. You might find a few that maybe you haven't thought of and that you could definitely benefit from. And again, I know a lot of these folks, I don't know if they've emailed you because a lot of them said they're here for you as beta readers. So you might want to create like a Google form that it's anonymous where you don't collect people's emails and you just ask them questions and have them and just send it to everyone. And you won't know who said what unless you really want to know. But otherwise, you could collect that feedback anonymously and just have them answer your questions. So I've had a few writers who I've suggested the beta readers, and they've taken advantage of that, and it's been helpful for them. I also had this one person who wanted to write this book that was not very culturally sensitive. And I said to her, you might want to get some beta readers. I don't know how people are going to feel about that. There you go, Jahaira. You see, you woke up your dog.
I knew it.
You
Always
just had to put it out there. There you go. Questions. Leslie shared the resource, questions to ask beta readers. And let me see, where's mine? I'll email you. Where is the last workshop that I sent you? Okay. Okay, so the resource, I'm copying this link that Leslie shared. Copy link and Rosendo wants me to share the mentoring programs. Okay. Any more questions, comments, concerns?
I have books to add to the list, to our list that
Well,
I've bought.
you have access to that list.
I am.
Did anyone
Especially,
else
who was
add
it that
to the list?
mentioned that was having trouble with
Where's the list?
focus? 1,000 words. It's a short story collection, and it's a bunch of different authors
Oh,
and how they can make.
that's on my TBR.
Yeah, this is good.
Did
And
you read it?
I started it, but I got hooked on this book of poetry, by Raina Biddy. It's called I Love My Love, and it made me cry. It's beautiful. Read
Okay.
this.
Folks.
She's amazing. And what else did
Let
I
me
get today?
see.
I got this
The
weekend.
only person who I see here who hasn't added his books are Rosendo, who was so adamant about I got a large list of books that I want to add, and he hasn't gotten to it.
Let's go. What you doing?
Rosendo, you're depriving everyone of your book list.
No pressure. No. That's the no excuse. I got it. No, I ain't gonna say no excuse. I don't like giving excuses. No excuse. I got you.
Yeah, I'm in there. Jahaira's adding more books. Lila added a bunch of these books. Simone added some. Yeah. Okay, folks, so we've reached the end of our workshop. Thank you for completing week 4 of the short story writing series. Next week is going to be a sharing session. I am not teaching anything. So I just want you all to finish writing as much as possible because I want you all to share what you've been writing. No pressure.
So
You've had 4 weeks to work on your writing.
you said there was a video in the beginning, but that's like the whole thing's gonna be on the
Not
I
a
guess the YouTube
video,
recording.
meaning that you missed the first 15 minutes of this workshop.
God. Oh, okay. I thought you said
I
you
will
put a
send
video.
you this video so that you could rewind and go back to what you missed.
I know because like I guess sensitive information we share, like do you just send us automatically these videos on from the YouTube? Because I haven't
No, I
been
do not
you
send
know
them automatically.
but we have to ask you like each time, or
Most of
that's
the
fine.
time, yes. Most of the
Okay.
time, people ask. There are some writing salon videos that are available on the YouTube channel, but the majority of them, there's like about 80 something videos. The majority of them are unlisted.
Okay, so whatever ones in the past, I gotta just figure out the date and maybe ask you, oh,
Yeah,
can you
I
send
think
me?
I sent you the list last week. Yeah, when you chatted with me, I said, here's the entire list of a writing salon videos.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone else wants access to that. I could share that right now, but otherwise it's not public access. Let me see. So actually, the writing salon, yeah, it's 75 videos for the writing salon. And
So will our secretary send out the minutes from each of one of these workshops as Leslie's responsibilities, or do I have to
you know who
motion
do
to
your minutes for
have
this
minutes?
workshop? AI.
You AI Angy intelligence. Hey, never mind. Yeah, you bigging up AI. I like that.
I just put the link to the previous salon videos in the chat. Okay, we've done tons of workshops on all kinds of topics. Oh, what's this? Why can't I click on that? Okay, click on videos. Yeah, we have tons of information, tons of resources. You guys could be busy for a while if you decided to watch all of these. And it wasn't until 2022 when I started recording these videos, I believe. Yeah, because the salon has been up and about since 2020. So okay, folks. Leslie, what was ONG for? Susanna, look out for emails from me. Thank you. Please share. Thanks. What is happening in 2 weeks? What's happening in 2 weeks? Thank you, Angie and everyone for availability. So starting March, for the month of March, I will not be teaching these workshops. We have another facilitator coming in for the entire month of March. All those workshops are already up on the website, so you could go and register for them individually. They're fun, creative workshops just to take you out of the routine and try something different, something new. They are also bilingual workshops. and gender neutral, Rosendo, please join. But yeah, okay.
Oh, thank you, Angie. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening in 2 weeks. I said something's happening in 2 weeks.
No, I
Where's
was
it?
just trying to get the schedule. I just wanted to know what was happening, not next week, but the following week for the
Oh,
writing workshop. But
the last week of February, I don't know what we're doing yet.
okay.
But I will post it and you'll be able to go on
We're
there.
gonna celebrate Independence Day.
I am so busy that weekend. But yeah, everyone, enjoy the rest of your
Congratulations, Angie. Again.
For what?
You won something. You won another thing, which is great. I can't keep up with you. I cannot keep up. I saw medals, awards, plaques, and all this.
Yes.
How do I stop recording this thing? Now I don't remember how. Okay.